This is the Tree of Life, Season 9, Chapter 6. In this episode, we will be drawing together the discussion in Season 6, Episode 6, with the last 3 episodes, and discussing what happens to hybrid structures in the conjoined consensuality. To start off, the last 3 episodes essentially discussed how negation produces a dissonant space, and thereafter, a hybrid structure, by consequence of the resumption of path parsimony. In this episode, we will be talking about how those hybrid structures are reabsorbed into the conjoined consensuality, and their negational impulses dissolved by nonlinearity, resulting in exclusionary word associations in the absence of negation. In Season 7, we talked about how tension within an affirmational structure, or archetypal structure, is loosened by loosening word associations through negation as a precursor to the process by which sublimating language is produced. Thus, we can say that the process of negation involves the elimination of close associations between specific words and an actor created by the conjoined consensuality. This tension, which heretofore existed between constituent word associations, is then transferred from one's affirmational structure into one's physical bodily rhythms by virtue of self-consciousness by need, that is a self-referential impulse. Within the dissonant space, this bodily tension is then sublimated to produce looser word associations, becoming through this process the sublimating verbalization. Subsequently, through the resumption of path parsimony, these non-exclusionary word associations are reoriented into a dialectical impulse to the negated impulse which originated them. In other words, if you imagine that the tension corresponding to specific word associations within an affirmational structure is like a strand, negation is rather like pulling that strand into the body, then using the body to stretch that strand before releasing it again. Rather like using the body like a loom to stretch the strand, then reinserting it into the conjoined consensuality. Now, it is important to note that once the word associations created by the sublimating language is reinserted back into the conjoined consensuality, the system, the conjoined consensuality, reacts by reorienting those associations back around the originating negated impulse, dialectical to it. But this is not the end of the process. For, once the impulse becomes dialectical, it becomes capable of forming a hybrid structure with respect to word associations, creating exclusive word associations around that actor. Thus, the process does not end there. It ends when, through nonlinear displacement events, that dialectical impulse is appropriated from the actor, and the actor expresses the negated impulse. This tells us a few things. First of all, it tells us that path parsimony doesn't just reorient sublimating language with the correction time, it then subsequently, through nonlinear displacement events, eliminates that dialectical impulse, creating exclusionary word associations, by affirming the direct ground experience that was originally negated. Once this is complete, the tension which was lost from the affirmational structure of the conjoined consensuality is gradually reabsorbed. Thus, we can say that hybrid structures, created by negation and sublimation, are gradually reabsorbed into the conjoined consensuality by nonlinear displacement events, leading to affirmation of the impulse corresponding to the originating negational experience. That's the end of the podcast for today.